Hello, greetings. So this is one of those times when I really feel I don't believe in a God who comes on time to help, making so many people suffer. So that's how one of the reasons, yes, that I don't believe in religions nor Shia Islam, which we thought was the best. Thinking of my grandaunt, she was a very service lady, very humble. And she had told me to pray for her that she would not be dependent on anyone after leaving her brother's house and going to live in an empty apartment of her sister who was in Oman. So she told me that while she recites Quran in the night, not to tell anyone at that time when she was alive, so I'm bringing her secret out now, have been. So when this thing happened of my aunt, my mother's sister, the second youngest, that she got possessed and all this, my grandaunt once told me not to be afraid of her jinns, the aunt's jinns, because this man comes to her when she recites late in the night time, but she used to go to sleep early, like 9 o'clock, after the news, PTV news. So whenever that was, she would just go to sleep. She was an early sleeper and an early riser, and she would help out, with her brothers, in her brother's house for his family. She was single. She never got married. She loved someone, but he married someone else. So I found out from my aunt, who was her niece. She was very good, and she was like an angel, our ideal actually, because she was just one of those who gave without, saying. So the thing is that Muttahar, yeah. Okay, my mother's sister, sorry, her name has come out. My mother's sister got possessed in my room, and then I was like really scared. I remember while sleeping, I was scared in the big room, lounge now. I couldn't sleep. Because of her possession thing in my room, I had to get out of my room and go sleep in the lounge, which we call the big room. So I was sleeping, and there was this man coming out of the wall. I felt it was like a dream or something. Where I was sleeping, the man was coming out of the wall and praying Naad Ali on me, and he was blowing it on me, and he had a scarf on his one shoulder. But even then, I was really scared, what is this? Because we were praying 70 times Surah Al-Hamd. My mother called us Sayyid, Shia Sayyid, and he told her to, what am I saying, advice? He told her to read the Surah Al-Hamd, Surah Fatiha, 70 times in English. 70 times in Arabic and 70 times in Urdu, in the language that, Urdu, yes, in Karachi. So that was like 70 times, 70 plus 70 is 114, I guess, right? Something. So my maths is really bad right now. So 70 plus 70. We used to wake up our aunt. Our aunt was my grandaunt, my mother's aunt. we used to call her and she was nearby. We'd, you know, so they were also early sleepers uh, and early risers. So 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and it would take like time until these jinns, went away. So then my aunt said, my grandaunt said, she's really tired. She can no more do this. Because every time they would come back, and I remember for a month she was in my bedroom. So my father came from Singapore, and he used to go those days to Singapore. He used to stay there some months, and then 6 months, and come back for a little while and go back to Singapore. So my father, I remember it was like for a month, and my father's, she should go to her place. That's my aunt, and I thought, okay, that's very not very nice. But I was like, because of your school and all this, he was saying. I was in Karachi American School. So what she did was had me rent out, hire movies, and then very horror movies she wanted to see. So I had to hire for her these rent out these movies, go and get the movies for her, these horror movies. Sorry, I'm repeating myself and all this and not talking well. So Exorcist and Omen, and the book I was reading was this horror book, Salem's Lot, or Salem's Lot, during that time, and or before that, a year back or something. And then she wanted, like, Salem's Lot came, so in a movie. So, those or even those cannibals going after, God knows what it was, this movie, it was similar to the book I read, Salem's Lot. Can't remember the name of the movie. So for a week she did this. She made me, like in my bedroom, we were watching these horror movies, and then she had this possession. So Exorcist movie, Omen. So the second one had not come out. It was 1981 or 82 somewhere. And so my grandaunt later on told me not to be afraid. So she used to recite Quran in the night. And she told me I'm like a buzurg. An elderly man comes to her, and he wears white clothes, right? So he's told her to tell me not to be afraid of my mutahar, my disowned aunt's jinns, these spirits that come and possess you. We call jinns ghosts, but actually they're spirits of humans, and their names are like Maryam. They're like human names that we have, Ruqayya and Abdullah. Then the whole family started to come, mother, sister, and son. Mother, daughter, and son. So Abdullah's sister, and I don't know if the mother was Ruqayya or Maryam. And then they said that we've made her our daughter. So all this was going on. Anyway, so I found out from my grandaunt her secret that when she recites Quran in the night, a white dressed elderly man comes to her and just tells her things. So we like a holy man, not like, but a holy man, and elderly. Something like what would you call a buzurg? Elderly man, wise holy man, I think. Yeah, so then what happened is my grand aunt, Mamie, told me to pray for her, that she should not be dependent on anyone. And there was a time my grand aunt had come to my mother's place and told her something about me, like not to say anything to me. I don't know why she said this, but I couldn't. She told my mother that not to say anything to her, me, this daughter of yours. So I was wondering, and I couldn't say, no, Mimi, let it be. No, because, that's because my mother was her niece. And then this was in the backyard. My mother used to sit on the swing, and Mamie had come. So she used to bring all these fruits and things, very rare ones we used to get from Karachi. So I found out those were dried. She used to bring those dried lotus flower that we used to eat inside, the thing. It had this soft fruit, a vegetable or fruit type thing. You can eat without cooking, and you have to peel it, peel them and then eat them. So there were lotus flower fruits, or whether it's a vegetable or a fruit. But we got used to the taste and all this. So we used to love it because it was rare to find, and you only get it in very special places in Karachi. So what happened is, they didn't tell me when she had cancer. She had cancer and she passed away, stomach cancer. So I was listening to music, songs, The Power, so that by I think Celine Dion has also sung the song, but The Power of Love. So I was sitting, listening to this, my cassette, when someone told me that she's passed away, and I remember distinctly the song I was listening to, and then after this, I've stopped listening to this song. I never listened to this song, unless it was in a party, and then I'd be really scared. Like, I would not put it on. I just feel that someone would die. So recently, some years back, I put it on just to just to, get my superstitions out and fear that it's just a superstition. But someone else died. So I think it was my father's mother who died. So then again, this was in year 2000, so I can't hear this song, The Power of Love. So I don't know, Mimi passed away I can't remember the year properly, before my youngest brother's birth. So it must be 1985 or somewhere in 1985, 86. So I realized that, this thing of, you go on, I didn't know. Yeah, so Mimi also didn't want to go to the hospital. She said that she didn't want to go to the hospital. But I asked my mother later in year 2000, can you imagine? So then my mother told me, yes, she was taken to the hospital. She had to go to the hospital. And she also, her sister came from Oman, but the neighbors, her relatives, had to cook for her and all this. They had to take care of her. So, seeing this happen, it was quite shocking. But then, you go on in life thinking, no, no, there is a God. Some incidents make you think, no, there's like, what is this? Where are our prayers going? And my aunt who got married at 17, I think she was 17, 18, 19, 17, 18 years old. So her father-in-law was saying the Hadith-e-Qissa, which is very important hadith for the Shias. For the Shias, it's an important hadith. So on the stage, on her reception, wedding night, he recited Hadith-e-Qissa on the stage, the whole Hadith-e-Qissa. And it says, it's like during the end, that whoever recites this hadith, all their worries, the believers who recite this hadith, all their worries come to an end, and all this, right? So I was asking her, like, she got divorced and I got separated from Miss Disa. Miss Disa was there at the wedding. I remember. It was in Taj Mahal, Karachi. So this happened, and so I stopped. No, I didn't stop believing in God, but I started to question, like, why did these things happen? And in your desperate need, we are so conditioned, we pray to God, pray to God. So during the separation also with Mr. Sa, I prayed. Mr. Sa would not come back, so. And there was another one, Shias also, and my mother going to psychiatrist. And I read so many times Dua Yastashir for my mother to get well, but she didn't. And in the dua book, it says Prophet Muhammad swears on his prophethood to Salman and explains Salman Farsi and explains the benefits of this dua. So whoever whoever recites this dua and with the truth of my prophethood and this. Gabriel Gabriel has just come and told me the benefits of this dua. And Salman, if I don't propagate this dua, like that's another thing, to people too much, because people will leave their all other forms of prayers and just recite this dua if they found out what are the benefits of this dua. So I started to recite it, oh my God. If you recite it once, I felt with your heart and with that belief, that faith, what are the benefits? And we have such duas that on the day, oh God knows, you will have the status of Jesus Christ. You will rise above all these miseries of this life. And spiritually, you will be so strong, like you will have the status of Jesus Christ. Or you will even, Rasulullah will come and greet you on the day of judgment. And you will be so much, maybe even you could have that position of Prophet Muhammad or something. Maybe in one dua benefit I was reading, not only Jesus Christ, but you'll have all the benefits of prophets. And you'll at least have that position. By just reciting these duas, just reciting. So I was like, oh my God, this is what I expected from God, and this is what I'm getting in the duas. From the duas, the benefits. Just recite the dua, that's it. So, I recited the dua and kept reciting and kept reciting and kept reciting until this madness took place and all this. So if someone, when I remember all those incidents, it was very difficult for me to face. When you are in trouble, and I'm not an atheist, I could not think that I couldn't in my being, there was this faith that there's a God. Whether scientists have found it or not, or atheists have found it or not, reading Russell's book, Bertrand Russell. So I couldn't, even after all these incidents, when the thing happens, you like this shock, and then another one, and then I don't know how to say that, a lightning strike. So those are shocks that I got. Sometimes a miracle happened, prayers, or they say don't call it miracles. Now some of the Muslims are very hard on this. They say only Rasulullah has the right to bring out miracles, not the common Muslims or Mu'mineen. So the prayers answered. So some prayers are answered, some prayers are not answered. Now I could not think what kind of a sin my poor grandaunt had committed that she was not forgiven for. Like she was so patient, so humble, and all this. Right, always a service lady. She never complained when she didn't get the person she loved, the man she loved and wanted to marry. He married her sister. So today I've had the strength to talk about this here on the video, and before that the live stream on Facebook. But now when I was seeing, because you see 3M Indian, he was a Muslim from a Muslim family, and then he went to the Himalayas. He found his guru. So he reminds me sometimes of my grandaunt, and now I feel that I should say I can take, like I can look at this, because sometimes some tragic things you don't want to see much for a long time. You can't make sense, like where are our prayers going? So then this was these shocking incidents where God doesn't answer our prayers, even though we have du'as which say that your sins will be forgiven here and now. Just recite this dua. Then I was thinking, like, maybe I'm not saying my 5 times prayers and all this, but Mimi, my grandaunt, used to say her 5 times daily, regularly. Daily prayers 5 times, obligatory, on time. So, but she had to go through a lot. She used to say that neki karo darya mein phek do. Do good and just throw it in water. Or niyat saaf manzil aasan. So there were times when 1 minute felt like years have gone by. So, I used to think of what Mimi told me and say, Mimi, but if your conscience is clean, then your destiny is easy to find, right? Easy. Manzil asan. And like your road is easy, but very easy. It was a nightmare, horror for us. And for her, so I never, hardly heard her complaining. So this song sometimes I dedicate to her. Wind beneath my wings. So I'll continue later. Thank you.